So look, tonight we're talking about this idea of service over sales as always, where we're taking a look at this experience that someone had when they got their landscaping done. And the first thing that I want to really hone in on tonight, because this is what happened to them. They had to basically wait a month and a half, which is fine, to get on the schedule. But when they got on the schedule, everything fell apart. I mean, it was almost as if like there wasn't enough time scheduled to get the whole job done. Just everything fell apart. If you're a plumbing business owner, if you're any kind of business owner, if you've ever worked in the restaurant industry, you can grasp this as it relates to customers, where that rush of people that come in maybe during a sale, but it's being over capacity, not being able to get to everybody. It's an awful feeling. It's an awful feeling. It sucks. And it comes in waves. And what happened here was they were kind of like that one customer that you just can't seem to get to because you're just a little bit overwhelmed. You know, in the restaurant industry, it's not like every single table has a bad experience, but when it gets overwhelmed, some tables have a bad experience. And so sometimes that can happen, and this is what happened to them. They were that one customer. And so a month and a half to get on the schedule. And here's the key. First of all, number one, remember when you're running business, when you're running life, when you're just anybody dealing with people for any reason, whether it be on Saturday and you're just running errands with people and you got to stop by and pick something up. And that's this. Schedules are important. Schedules are extremely important. People's schedules are extremely important. Not only are they important, but they're important to them. That's what makes plumbing in the service plumbing industry. And that is this concept of schedules being important, because the reality is that when you treat it right, when you do it right, you get people on your schedule who value your time and they value what you do for a living, because they're buying a different thing. And so there's a reality that yes, you want to book all the calls, but you don't necessarily need to book them all at once, all that day, all that moment. There's a reality that you want to serve everybody that's hungry. You can't have everybody come to your restaurant at the same time. In fact, the nicer the restaurant, the more dedicated to service the restaurant, the more far out in advance sometimes you have to make the reservation. Everyone's schedule is important. And when we grasp that and we understand that, that's what convenience stores have really dominated in understanding, is that people are in a hurry and they capitalize on that. And you don't need to capitalize that in the sense that you can raise your prices. You don't need to raise your prices just because, you know, they need you in that particular moment. You raise your prices because it makes sense and it's the right thing to do for your business. But you do want to be available for the people who are ready for you now, because they're going to convert more likely. And not only are they going to convert more likely, they're going to convert more likely, meaning they're going to do more. The opportunity to offer them some options and give them the Costco palleted price at the today valued convenience store model is a win-win-win for everybody. They get to invest in their plumbing. They get more out of their plumbing. You get an opportunity to make more revenue per that day, per that truck. The technician, if they're results-based economy, which they should be, they're making more opportunity, more money for their family. Everybody's winning here. Everybody's winning in that scenario. And that's what we teach. That's what we preach. But number two, communication is key. Well, here's what happens next. First of all, they send a crew out, and the crew doesn't even know what they're supposed to be doing comparative to what the initial person that was out there and the customer purchased. This is a month and a half later. Like, the person that sold this or was a part of this solution, whatever they were doing, should have been out there to help direct, should have been back at the office directing someone so they knew what was going on. So there should have been a process in place so that quality control could be scaled. We talk about that all the time too in the program. Quality control is very hard to scale. And here's a perfect example of that, where it's a month and a half down the road and all of a sudden we've got a situation where no one knows what's going on. And you want to talk about communication is key. There's a major language barrier here. Not everybody was speaking the same language. And I don't mean like in service literally English and a different language. So we've got two different languages. We've got people on different pages to begin with. Even if they're speaking the same language, it's going to be complicated. Someone's going to have to call back to the office. And now we've got a situation where no one knows to call back to the office. And it's just a broken communication, broken down situation. Schedules are important. We don't even know what we're supposed to be doing. We haven't scheduled enough time in the schedule. If we all knew what we were even doing and we were all speaking the same, I mean, this is a catastrophe. It's a nightmare. It's broken. It's broken. Broken. It's not service. It's a memory, all right. We're talking about it right now on a show because someone had to experience this and they didn't like it. Look, whatever you're doing, okay, whatever you're following, whatever model you're after, if you're out there just doing it on your own, don't be so naive to think that you're just going to figure it out. You can. That's believing in yourself. I believe in you too. You can. But why go through the unnecessary hurdles? Why go through the unnecessary pitfalls? Why would you do that? You should always get help in everything that you do if there's help available, if there's the ability to get the help. We offer help in the Plumbing Sales Coach through coaching programs and through video programs. You can download our app, the Plumbing Sales Coach Calculator. look, when we talk about service, this idea of communication, this idea of respecting people's time, it all matters. Okay, get to the point when you're in the home, build the relationship, either have a point as to why you're building the relationship or have a point as to why you're diagnosing what you're diagnosing. Don't just diagnose everything to diagnose everything. Don't just be like, hey, I'm going to take a look around and check every single thing. Then they're going to say something like, no, I don't want you to do that. Or they're going to say something like, all right, well, cool, go ahead and do that and let me know what you find when you come back. And most of the times they're going to be like, all right, cool, I'm glad you found that. I already knew you're going to find something when you said you were going to go try to find something. And so I'm good. But if it's actually connected to the concern, connected to the plumbing, connected to the reason that you came out there, then you have a much better chance of it making sense because, well, it does make sense. Communication is key, appreciating their time. All these things matter. All these things matter. Look, the last point I want to make right now, flash it up on the screen for everyone to see. Because here it is, dude. Always be advocating for your customer. Always be advocating. You know, we say always be serving, but always be advocating. In this particular scenario, what happened was after they got through that little hiccup, after they went through a little problem with getting on the schedule and taking forever, and then someone finally comes out there, but they don't really know what's going on. They can't communicate and the language barrier and all the issues. And by the way, can I just speak to that language barrier issue? Even Waffle House has a translator. Like they come to your table and they say, hey, what would you like? Would you like some orange juice? Would you like some coffee? Everything's normal. And you do that exchange. Then they come back and they take your food order and everything seems normal. And they said, you want 3 eggs? You wouldn't even know they speak a different language at this point. Would you like 3 eggs? Sure. Yeah, I'll take 3 eggs with some ham. You could throw some cheese on there and I don't know, maybe some onions. I like onions. You guys have jalapenos. Throw some jalapenos in there. Something like that. And the next thing you know, they turn around. They're like, we want 3 overdone easy with scattered, flip, smothered, covered. And we want it chunked, ripped, and dipped. And I'm like, what just happened? Was that the same? That's not what I ordered. And it is what I ordered in their language. So, because it always comes out right. I don't know. That's Waffle House. You got to have that. Now, when I talk about advocating, when that thing goes south, when it doesn't go right, when the project goes wrong, you need to make sure that you stand up for your customer, that you do the right thing by your customer. It's not about dollars and cents at that point. It's not about the bottom line. It's about making sure that they get taken care of. And in this scenario, whoever sold this particular job did not advocate for their customer. They were nowhere to be found. No one responded. It took forever to deal with this problem. Do you know how painful that is? Think about it. You got to go through the whole entire process of, I want to do this project, whatever it is. You could be getting a car. You could be getting a meal. You could be taking your family out for a meal. You could be going and getting your lawn care done. Like in this case, you could be getting a plumbing project done. And you have to make this decision to do it. And then when you finally get the decision that we're going to spend our hard-earned money on this project, then you got to invite and find somebody and make a decision on who's going to do it. And then once you figure out who's going to do it, you make the decision to do it. And then you go through the nerve-wracking process of it getting done and hoping that it works out. And when it doesn't, it sucks, but it's even worse when it goes south and then it goes south and then it goes even more south and no one wants to do the right thing. And it's like all of a sudden no one knows who Tony is anymore. No one knows, no one remembered what we were supposed to do your lawn. We do lawns. It's not right. Service over sales. It's up to us as service providers to make sure that the process is smooth along the way and to make sure that they get good quality along the way, to make sure that everybody's comfortable, not only with the decision to make the purchase, but also the outcome of the purchase and then also the outcome of the product. Like that's the part most people don't, they just won't connect all three. Connect all three and you've got yourself a gold mine. You've got yourself that will endure any weather, any storm, any problem, anything, okay? Businesses go out of business all the time. I get that. And when the government gets involved or when whatever thing happens that makes it more difficult for your scenario, your circumstance, wherever you are, you have to understand that everyone around you is also going through that for the most part. And if they're not going through that one very unique circumstance that you're going through right now, they've gone through or they will go through that circumstance or something like it. And I'm not devaluing and I'm not trying to minimize the problems of this world. I'm just simply saying, let's not be surprised by them. Let's not be caught off guard by them. Let's be prepared for them. And when they come, let's endure them. Let's push through them. We do it through providing service in our business. We do it by taking care of and loving others. Do I always do that? No, I wish I did. And I would love to go back and fix a whole lot of statements, fix a whole lot of conversations, and even fix a whole lot of relationships. But that's not always possible. We have to choose to accept and move on. But when we do, we can choose to be different and better than we were yesterday. Choose to be different and better than we were even an hour ago. Anyone can be different and anyone can change. And if you move forward in that method and in that manner, we'd see a whole lot of things get better. We'd see a whole lot of the world get better. Our businesses would get better. Our results would get better. Our world would get better, and it would be worth it. So therefore, all I'm saying is that when you take these principles and you apply them, it has a ripple effect onto more than you could ever measure. And so just understand that, know that, and live by that. And I'm telling you, everything will be better. That's the end of my rant. Guys, listen, as always, just remember, serve your communities and everything, not just plumbing. Have a great night.
Fresh.
Thanks for watching The Fresh Experience. I hope you enjoyed it. Be sure to check out our podcast, The Fresh Approach, on Google, Apple, and your favorite podcast channel.
Fresh.